Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Sunday, the 24th of August, 2025. We will start as normal with the synoptic picture. Looking yesterday lunchtime to begin with, high pressure very much the dominant feature there with some warm front activity to the north. We didn't really see much of that underground. We had a reasonable day in the end. We got the also acute shift in the end and the autostratus. Today, however, midnight last night, no real change. High pressure still the dominant feature centered off the just east coast of the UK there. And into lunchtime today, very little change with no significant weather. A large warm front, quite messy, to the west, approaching the west coast of Ireland, and that's all stemming from this low pressure just between Iceland and Greenland there. That's running all the way down towards the Azores. Behind that, it's a fairly deep low there. That's going to come in hopefully in the next day or so, not causing too much poor weather. We're giving us a slight change in conditions and a different air mass behind it. You can see that by midnight, that cold front having weakened somewhat, and the bulk of that low pressure behind reaching us around Tuesday or Wednesday. Back today, however, so looking at the sat pic, quite a big wedge of upper cloud over the UK at the moment, just about stretching down to our area there, that little sort of horn at the bottom covering us. If we look at how that's been progressing as the sun's been up, it is moving sort of east almost. So we're hopeful that that will burn off and not spoil the day too much. That's going to be the big factor is what that cloud actually does in the end. Rain radar, nothing of significance on there. A few showers out towards Norfolk, but nothing in the area of Lasham. And looking at the rain prediction, running that through, nothing really of concern all day. We're expecting typical high pressure conditions. And if that cloud does burn off, it will be warm and blue for most of the day with a bit of cumulus potentially. At Odium, there's no TAF being the weekend, but their observation was 0603 knots, so light easterly, with visibility greater than 10 kilometers and overcast at 5,300 feet, with a temperature of 16. So that's that big area of cloud that we're seeing. Farnborough, their TAF, well, interestingly, their META, they observed it as Cav OK about 15, 20 minutes ago. Whereas the TAF for them is showing 140 degrees, 6 knots, a little bit more what we can expect here. Visibility greater than 10 and scattered at 4,500. So that's likely the cumulus that we're expecting. The spot winds to the south, it's southeasterly, fairly light, between 5 and 10 knots, 150 and 160. And to the north is 170 degrees, 10 knots. Surface wind, looking at windy here, you see there's a sort of southeasterly flow fairly consistently across the airfield there. And with that in mind, we'll be operating on the runway 09 to begin. The local Met Office forecast showing a little bit less easterly to the wind there, actually, but with strengths between 8 and 9 knots, potentially gusting up towards 19 later in the day. Nothing really significant otherwise, with good visibility and fairly low humidity. Showing a little bit more cloud, hopefully this upper layer breaking and cumulus beginning to form, with a fairly high UV of around 6 in the warmest part of the day. Speaking about the warmest part of the day, looking at the GFS, they're predicting a temperature around 22, 23 degrees during that time, with a dew point of 9. So this was the view on the south side looking west. That was at about 8:05 local time this morning. If we just refresh that and see how this layer of cloud has changed. Not very significantly. Starting to clear a little bit more to the west and a couple of gaps opening up. So we really need this to shift and get a bit of heat in, and hopefully we can have a reasonable day. Locally now we're up to 14.9 degrees with a dew point of 11.5. Onto SkySat. On the left-hand side of the screen is an excerpt from the potential flight distance, showing a reasonable area out to the west and the north up towards Aston Down. It's directly north of here. It's not fantastic, certainly when you get north of sort of Dunstable, reducing in the quality of conditions, but a good run from us west and then north, essentially. Locally to Lasham itself, you can see the point forecast here. They're not recognizing any of this top cover that we have in at the moment. They're suggesting we might get a little bit about 11:30. So it'll be interesting to see what they're putting that down to. And showing reasonable surface heating all throughout the day, with cumulus from about 12 o'clock for a few hours and then bluing out again as we get what appears to be more top cover. Soarable to 4,500 feet from lunchtime onwards, with strengths between 3.5 and just under 5 knots. The thermal top winds, very light, southwesterly, according to SkySat there, which is slightly contradictory to what the Met Office was saying. But we'll see. I suspect we're more likely to have that southeasterly component. So clouds distribution here for top meteo, showing a bit of relatively thin auto Q to begin with. This is at 9 o'clock local. Just run it back an hour. You can see it's starting this area here that we're seeing just now. That's starting to move back and reduce. And by 11 o'clock, some cumulus starting to form locally and continuing into the afternoon. Bit of top cover here to the west, edging in, potentially making the area out west and southwest of us slightly trickier with reduced cumulus there, but the area to the northwest should still be working. And you can see that area of Cirrus moving in even further into the mid to late afternoon, reducing any of the cumulus clouds locally and very much to the north as the day fizzles out. NOTAMs, very little to discuss. Certainly that's of concern. To the north of Lasham 22, that's West Ilsley, there'll be winch launching paragliders to, I think, 1,900 feet. And to the west of that, 24, you have the Aston Down comps. We'll move on now to the local airfield brief, starting with glider bookings and availability. We have one K21 today on boots instruction and another on the casual list. We've also got K13 operating trial lessons today, and there is plenty of single seat availability. At the moment, there's 4 on the casual list, so if we could have an instructor to help, that would be very much appreciated. And the simulator is available as normal. A reminder, as you probably used to know, about the Boyne expedition. Week 3, still a number of spaces there, so get in touch with the office to book, and if you have any questions, come and speak to Ron, Barry, or myself. There's nothing to report at this time with regards to movements, and in summary, high pressure is dominant with the southeasterly flow throughout today. We're expecting it to be soarable with some Q, hopefully seeing this top cover we have at the moment burning back and allowing us to get some sun on the ground. We'll be operating runway 09 today with cables on the south side grass. And a reminder, please, instructors, do not brief at the front of the queue. As always, be ready when the cable lift tag arrives, and do not land or taxi across the disused runways shown in red. And there's our airfield set up to finish, with the winch to the south of the main runway and the air tow on the hard just to the north of that. That's all from me this morning. We'll see you out there in due course. Have a good day and keep it safe. Thank you.